Hi, Daniel. Welcome.
Hey,
Hi.
good to be here.
Yeah, good to
Okay,
have
we're
you.
just about to get started.
Just so, hey Siobhan, do you want to drop the welcome note to people that come in from now on for our latecomers? And then, Daniel, I'll just say this to you now that we're recording right now. So if you don't want your face on this video that will go on YouTube, go ahead and turn your camera off. Okay.
You'll be YouTube famous, Daniel.
Not again.
Okay.
I might bow out though, now that I've shown my face.
Good. Okay, good. Shall we get started? All right. Well, welcome and welcome to our December, what is it called? Open council meeting. And I just wanted to welcome everyone, welcome Daniel and everyone who's tuning in. After we've recorded this live, I just want to give a quick explanation of what this meeting is. It's open to all members in good standing, and this is a working council meeting. So the agenda is generally published for members to see ahead of time, and comments from the membership should be reserved until the open forum. The open forum is at the end, right before we go into the executive session. So the executive session is kind of like our closed session where is only to be used for discussing items and sensitive in nature, etc. And it's generally oh goodness, I'm losing what I'm saying. And it's generally just to kind of like protect the privacy, et cetera, of folks on the council. Okay. Not that kind of sounds ominous, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay, great. So let's get started with a little bit of updates from the little co-op updates.
I will start. Is that okay, Joe, if I start?
Sure. Oh my gosh, Siobhan, yes.
Cool. So our membership update, we have 1,185 members. It's been kind of a slow climb, but we're so close to 1,200, which is really, really exciting. And we're almost at 200 Solidarity members. We have 198 total, so we're just 2 away from having 200 Solidarity members, which is also really cool. And as far as co-op events, we don't have any in-person or virtual events planned for December, but we did send out a community-wide survey to all of our every single member, and even like our general mailing list and pending members, which are like people that have well, I guess it doesn't matter to go into detail, but we sent out this community-wide survey, and we're collecting all of our members and community members' feedback on what kind of co-op our community wants. So as far as like the aesthetic of the co-op, what would make the co-op welcoming, and what kind of programs we should implement at our co-op when our doors are open, what kind of things our members want to engage in and get involved in, and all those things as we get closer to designing our building. So all of this is really valuable to us because it's going to inform these next steps for our building design. So please check your email. We've been sending out reminders each week for folks to complete the survey, and we're raffling off gift certificates to local businesses in the area, which is also really exciting because like your feedback is also supporting local businesses. So our goal is to get 600 completed surveys. We have 118 so far. So please do take our survey. It takes only about 15 minutes. And you can also win gifts and gift certificates to locally owned businesses like Seasoned Delicious, Samosa Shack, the Tortilla Place on Van Buren Street, the Anchor, different places all in Midtown, Uptown, and Downtown Kingston. So please check your email. And we're going to be planning more events for the new year, COVID permitting. So follow our social media and check your emails for those updates as they come along. Passing it back to you, Joe.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
have
no,
anything
thanks,
else.
Siobhan. Does anyone have anything about that? That's a very thorough explanation. Thank you for that, Siobhan. All right, cool. What about oh my goodness, there we go. What about updates from what about the financial report? Kevius, you have anything about that or?
Nothing crazy to provide on the financial piece. As you all know, we have a fiscal sponsor, which is the Good Work Institute, GWI. We have a current account balance there of about 170,000, which we haven't transferred as of yet. And mainly because we did not hire a GM this past year, so we have a lot of excess funds. Ways that we plan on allocating those funds coming up, as Siobhan mentioned, or alluded to rather, we will be compensating different participation for different committees going forward, and for member participation and community participation inside of the different events that we're doing. We're still playing around with different cost models there. But as of right now, we're still in good financial standing, and we have a grant proposal coming up very soon, which we'll get to later in the agenda. And we'll have more updates once that grant is in and we have a solid figure on what we're spending numbers on.
Very good. Very, very good. And then any other reminders or updates that we want to share?
I actually just do want to mention one more thing. Our survey will be open until January 14th, so that's about 3 more weeks. Just want to put that out there because that's the day that we're drawing the raffle. So again, please just check your email. We're sending out weekly reminders, and your feedback means so much to us. So thank you. And passing it back to you, Joe. Thanks.
Thanks, Siobhan. Those nice little gift certificates sound really nice. Okay, so all right, so now we're gonna look at our council committee updates. So the GM search. Who wants to take that one away with an update?
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
We actually have had so far 2 meetings of our GM search committee. The committee is comprised of Katie and myself, and then there's 4 co-op members that are on the committee, and we have a real breadth of knowledge there in terms of people that have served on search committees before, people that have GM'd stores or departments of health food and cooperative grocery stores before. So we're really happy that that they are bringing this knowledge to the table to help us do that. In the future, this update will actually be made by one of our 2 fantastic co-chairs, which are neither Katie nor myself. So that will be fun to have another voice in this meeting giving some updates, but they couldn't make it to this one. So the update is that we have, we're about to finalize the job, description, whatever, what is that called? There's a name for that. And that will come to the council to be approved before it's released out into the world. And then the next step we're looking at is we're trying to get a compensation range so that we can work that, in time so it can be worked into our budget and our grant request, and that is accurate. And then we're working on a rubric to make sure that the interview, sort of like the sorting and interview process, is very fair and everyone gets to be judged by the same criteria. So that's sort of what we're working on now. They have some questions for us, so that we should answer. I don't know if anyone else was able to look at those.
Mm-hmm.
But some questions that the committee is asking the council is, are we envisioning that this candidate will have a skill set for both the startup phase of the co-op and the operational phase of the co-op? Because a lot of they're very different skill sets. So are we looking for someone to help us open successfully and then leave in a year? Or are we looking for someone that can both open successfully and take us through like the first 5 years?
Like looking for a unicorn, having someone who can do the startup and would be willing to go through, with the actual day-to-day running.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that we're going to have a good answer for when we have our candidates and someone asks us this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's that.
Do we want to answer these questions now, or are these like, is this like an update, or is this like, are we trying to answer the questions for the committee?
Well, we need to give the committee answers to these questions. And this is our monthly meeting. So I think this is a good place in which to do that. But it doesn't have to be the place in which we do this. We can do this in committee, or we can do this via email. But we need to put it on our calendar to do it.
Yeah. And then are you suggesting something, Katie? Are you suggesting that we do this in committee, or you're just curious?
Yeah, just curious if this is like, if we're launching into a discussion about these questions, or if we're just kind of putting it on our radar.
Do we have time to now? Like maybe chunk out 5 minutes just to get people's personal preference. I mean, it's like 5 of us. I'm interested in seeing where we stand with it. Personally, I would like startup into 5 years of operations. That'll give us time to stabilize ourselves and understand what support we would need. But I know that's a big commitment for one person.
I mean, I think ideally we would also have, well, okay, sorry. Are we gonna do?
Let's take 5 minutes. How about that? Yeah. You guys cool with that?
Yeah, I think you can answer these.
I think it would be awesome if we found somebody who wanted to be with us forever, like if their plan was to stay with the co-op for a long time, assuming that, they're meeting the needs of the co-op, and we're excited and happy to have them. So that's my feeling. I think the longer someone stays in, the more committed and invested they are, and more likely they are to do, and then changing that role after a few years feels like a big thing to do too.
So are we thinking maybe like we want to say we're looking for at least a 5-year commitment?
Yeah,
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the preference would be that you would make us your forever home, but being, I don't know how realistic that is. But so what were you gonna say, Katie, please?
Yeah, it seems like the question is more about like, do we want them only for startup time, like pre-operations, right? The question is like, would the candidate need to have skill set for startup phase as well as for operational phase? And I think that question is just yes. Like they have to be able to run a co-op and also start their co-op.
Okay.
But yeah, Kivia says emphasizing long-term and not diving into a specific year term. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Good point, Kivius. Good point, everyone. Okay.
So that's great. Good answer. There's another question. How long do we anticipate the startup phase to be before becoming operational? So I guess this is, how long are we hoping that the GM will be on board, but our store will be not open yet? That's kind of hard to answer, isn't
Probably
it?
like a month or 2 after construction's done.
Yeah.
We can pull that off. Like if we do pilot programming during construction, are able to like get things in the store by the time construction's done.
Well, I mean, we've been advised that we should have a GM in place, a year before opening. So
I love that advice. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it depends how long the search, like when we find somebody who's right. Like we might find somebody really early on and then they'll be with us for like a year and a half before the store opens. Or if we don't find someone for a year, then they'll only be with us for 6 months before the store opens,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, emphasizing, I think that would be a good thing to happen if we found someone and they were here with us for a year and a half. It would really help like in terms of like guiding the co-op along, you know, up into our opening date.
Yes. Okay, I'm skimming these questions because some of them I think are maybe a little weedsy. What duties do we expect the GM to have versus to delegate to others? This is bookkeeping, HR, vendor, product selection, etc. kind of things. I feel like it's industry practice that the GM knows how to do everything, but
Mhm.
Yeah. And
Well,
it be their sole
hire-
responsibility too. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Which might mean that like the GM should be able to do those things, but also that we might end up hiring somebody to support like bookkeeping, for example, or HR.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want
That's
somebody
their
who
ultimate
couldn't-
responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the rest of these questions I can really get from the pro forma that when they wrote these questions, they didn't have access to yet, and now they do. So I think we can skip over those and go to the next thing is that we need to set a budget for the search committee in order for them to be successful. The Colluminate How to Hire a GM handbook suggests budgeting for marketing the job. Because some of the places that we would have to post a job have a placement fee, to budget for any travel that our final candidates would have to would incur to come for a final interview. That maybe with Zoom now and everyone's so comfortable with Zoom, like we can probably limit that down to just like the final 2 finalists or something for in-person meetings, but we do need to set a budget for that. So that's something that I think the finance committee should
Are there any
look at.
are there any projections provided? I haven't looked at the handbook, but do they give you like a general sense of how much that'll be?
I mean, there's numbers in their sample budget, but I have no idea like
Okay.
if they are those like 2015 sample numbers. I don't know. I think we have to like really look at. We probably
We could probably take a stab at it first because like yeah, then so no, that would be great.
Okay, so can we just set a date for like when we'll set that budget by?
Yeah.
When did they need it? By when did they need it?
I think we should have it by our next meeting, which it will be the second week of January. Right?
Okay.
Katie, is that right?
I think it's like the 13th is our next GM search committee. So
Yeah.
So okay, so can we delegate that work? Is that something that I should take on to look through the existing, like the sample budget that came from Colluminate and kind of like match it, make sure that it's correct for 2021?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want like Kivius on that with you, or
Yeah,
is
I
that
would
like
love to, but yeah, I have some questions. So yeah, I would love to jump on that too.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
okay, so that's all for our GM search committee.
Okay, good. So now we're
Okay.
talking about nominations. Okay.
Oh, I think that's me again. Nominations is it's been really exciting. We have I feel like we're really lucky right now because a lot of people have entered our area that actually have a lot of really relevant cooperative development experience. So we're working right now and we're hoping to onboard a couple people in the first week of the new year. So yeah, so that's really exciting. We're still really looking this here. I'll put out the call for everyone watching on YouTube. We still would love someone that lives like right next to the store, like really close to the store to sort of be a voice of like the literal neighbor of the store.
Mhm.
And I think
so if anyone has like can think of someone like in your church community or at your work community or something where you're like, this person would be great to sort of be the voice of, I don't know, Elmendorf, like what, like right next to our store, then, not nominate them because we're sort of saving a spot for that special person.
Can I say something, Lindsay? Sorry to interrupt. A member recently just joined, and on the section that said, how did you hear about us? They said, I live up the block from the co-op or something like that. I don't know really anything about them but their name, but if it's helpful, I could like connect you guys via email to see if they're.
Yeah. Did they check off the I'm interested in yeah, because we're right. Katie is pointing out quietly that when I say that, I mean someone that's like lived there for like 20 years, you know, and not like, or grew up there too as well, not just someone that recently moved to that neighborhood. I think that there is a difference in sort of like the entrenched knowledge in that case. And that's the knowledge gap that we have, is like, you know, born and raised right next to what used to be the Honda dealership.
Do you know this? Do you know if this person is kind of like a native Kingstonian or native?
I don't know, because that's just not stuff we ask on the form to join.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know, as our survey data comes in, we'll know more and more about our members, which will be helpful for things like this.
Bless you, Kevius. But yeah, Siobhan, if they checked off like we still have the "Are you interested in volunteering" button, right, when people join?
On the membership form, no.
Oh, well then never mind. Anyways, if anyone wants to nominate someone, send them our way. But anyway, we're really looking forward to the people that we're in conversation with now, and looking forward to hopefully in 2022 announcing some new council members.
Okay, so then thank you for that, Lindsay. So I see that we're looking at the proposal for onboarding. For onboarding onboarding folks that are onboarding council members. Are we approving that in this meeting?
Good, yeah.
I hope so. I would like to, if it's possible.
I mean,
No.
I think what we can say, Katie, sorry.
I'll just give a little context about how we decided to work on this, which is that you know, we wanted to make sure that that we have a solid structure for when we bring in new people, so that you know, everyone's coming in on the same page, everyone understands where we're at in our process, understands how to, you know, where to go on the council for support in their work, that we have clear roles, and that everyone, you know, understands our business plan, you know, co-op development resources that are available, basically all of the pieces that are going to strengthen our co-op and make the council a little bit more cohesive. So this onboarding process was made with that in mind, and I think it does a pretty good job. But this, of course, will be the first time that we're using it with the new council members that come on, so it'll probably need to be tweaked, small/big tweaks. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. So I guess
It'll
what I'm
always
saying
be a
is like
work in
this.
progress at some point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a living document, this, or, you know, it's iterative and ongoing, this process.
Is everyone looking at it? Does everyone see?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it looks good.
And I'd also like to suggest that everybody on the council, current council members as well, go through this onboarding so that so that everyone can start on the same page, because some of this information, like what we didn't do in onboarding, I mean, a lot of it you guys have like learned over time, but I think some of it maybe might still be new. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think sorry. Kevius has already said he's willing to take the quick start class, which when Katie and I were proposing that we put this little module, this comes from Food Co-op Initiative, and they put it together to help onboard new council members specifically to startup boards. because obviously it's a much different job than an open co-op. And so I took it because I was like, well, we can't put it in there if one of us hasn't taken it. And it's great. It's really great. So Kivius has said he'll do it. Have you started it, Kivius?
Nope, but I will.
Better get on it. But I think it'll be good. It'll be a lot of, depending on who's taking it. Like for me, because I had already been on this council for a year and a half when I took it, I sort of like did everything in double time but if for someone that has no experience at all, it'll be a lot of new information.
Yeah. Well, I can do it too. Why don't you let me know when you're going to do it, Kivius?
You guys, it's all pre-recorded modules. You can do it anytime.
We can share screens together and cheat
Yeah.
through it.
It's like a slumber party. How wonderful. Okay, great. Okay, good. Is there anything else about that, Linz?
So are we officially, can we have like a proposal and a?
Okay. Oh, do you want to make a
approval
proposal,
process?
Linz?
I would propose that we accept this onboarding outline as to be used with the knowledge that we can edit and amend as we discover what works and doesn't work.
I consent. Are there any blocks? Are we is anyone encountering any block? Okay, great. So it sounds like this is a go. Yeah. All right, cool.
Just for like written record, Kivius, will you just say that you are that you're into
Oh, I
it?
consent.
Okay.
There's someone singing in the background.
Let the written record show that Kivius has pressed hand clap emoji on the Zoom screen.
Okay, good. Okay, so now we're talking, are we ready to move on to the capital project?
Yes.
This is you, Katie.
Okay. We're still in a bit of a let's see, our update is that we're like in this contract no man's land sort of that we've been in for quite a while because we have several different parties that we are working with to get this settled in, including our funder and legal team, architects, and grocery consultants. So we are, I think, very, very close to being able to just get the contract ready to go and signed, and then announce the architect that we plan to work with to our members in the community. That's coming right up. The council did approve at our last meeting on Thursday, I think, to hire Urban Projects Collaborative as our owner's representative. So that's exciting. I think they're going to be really great for us. We've worked with them in the past, and they're awesome. And that is, I mean, I think that's really kind of where we're at, besides, like the community integration part, the survey that's coming in. But I think there isn't a lot to update on the capital project besides contract stuff and owner's rep. And then we'll be announcing our store designer and grocery consultant at the same time as the architect. So I think everyone can don't hold your breath until January, but breathe deeply and normally until January when that announcement will come.
I'm holding my breath.
Don't do it.
Okay.
I think I think that's kind of the update for capital project.
Okay. Okay. Anything else about capital project before we move on to community integration? All right. What up with that phone banking and that surveys and them surveys?
So we did phone banking last week with, I think we had like 5 volunteers in total, plus Katie and myself. And some of the folks are doing the phone banking independently. So like I just heard from one of the volunteers today that finished up their list, and I have to check back in with another one. But we made calls to all of our Solidarity members just to let them know about the survey and send them the link directly, because sometimes with our emails, like with the email service that we use to contact all of our members, it gets sent into like the updates folder or sometimes spam. And so we just really wanted to increase our chances of people actually getting the survey, like getting them to open it and then take it. So that's what we did with phone banking last week, which went pretty well, I think. And can you ask me again your second question, Joe? I'm sorry.
Oh, and the surveys.
Oh, and the surveys. Yeah, I talked about it a little bit before, but we have 118 responses so far, and our goal is 600. It's a big goal, but it's to at least hear from half of our membership, or a good chunk of our membership and community. So that's our goal, and we're on our way.
And you can find the survey on our website, kingstonfoodcoop.com. So if you're watching
that's right
later.
Yeah, it's on our website under the Get Involved section. It's the first drop down. And Kevius, a percentage of folks, I don't think I can calculate that to you on the spot. I want to say like, I think like 40% of like the volunteers list answered. But that's a estimate / guesstimate. I don't know.
I think it might be lower than that.
30?
I mean, if you're including voicemails, then maybe, but like actually direct conversations with people, I think it might be. I think it might be more like 1 in 8, or like 12% or something like that.
I'm curious about if you've noticed like the phone banking has led to responses, like on nights when you're phone banking, is there an increased survey response? Is it working?
So that I would have to go in and check the dates of the surveys being submitted. I don't know off the top of my head. But I know that when we first were phone banking, we were still making changes to our survey and wanted to have both the English and Spanish one ready. So like the first night we did phone banking, or the first 2 days we did phone banking, we just called and left like reminders to people, like check your email, this survey is coming, this is why, that sort of thing.
I remember when we were meeting about what the survey questions would be with the survey consultants, and one of the concerns was accessibility, and we had talked about filling out the survey with people so one of the reasons that there's a lot of short answer and not a lot of multiple choice at all is because we were going to be doing like assisted surveying. Is that happening at all?
I know one of our phone bankers did like an over the phone survey with one of our members, like did it with them over the phone. But actually on our survey, it's mostly like, I think there's 6 or 7 short answer altogether, and the rest are check boxes. So it's, I think there were some changes to the formatting since then.
We're offering, or when we were doing phone banking last week, we offered folks the chance to do it on the phone, and I think for most people they didn't want to. It's like time intensive and hard to do with a stranger maybe over the phone, but it is an option. Siobhan, how was the event on Saturday in Midtown Market?
Oh, it was good. Saturday's weather was kind of like crappy, so they didn't really get a huge crowd, but we did have somebody fill out a survey there, which was cool. And she actually, it was cool just getting to know her, and her taking the time to do that. And then I met 2 people who were curious about the co-op. They were eating at the Broadway Lights Diner, and they were like, "Oh, we were just like talking about this," and said that they wanted to join, but they didn't join on the spot. They wanted to do it online. And yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, wasn't a huge crowd that day, but survey wise, I was happy that we got one person to take the 20 minutes or however long it took them to do it, and sold like a tote or something like that. And I met one of our members, I think her name was Barbara, and she got a t-shirt. So that was nice.
Yay,
Shout out to
Barbara.
Barbara.
And so for the folks who are here at the meeting right now in real time, if you haven't done the survey, I'm going to drop the link right now to our website and you can click it. And actually, Siobhan, will you do that? Will you give, I don't want to give the wrong link.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Thank you. I think, and that's
Awesome.
it, right, Siobhan?
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's all I have. Take it away, Joe.
Thank you, Siobhan. You're amazing. Also, all right, so decisions and discussions. So, so convening the finance committee, so creating the 2022 budget.
We need a plan for this.
We need a plan. Okay. By when do we want to have? Oh, sorry, please, Katie.
I'm wondering if this committee, I mean, I guess it depends on when our new council members will be seated. But I think it would be great to have them in on this. So maybe it's worth, I mean, we could set the meeting time now or like a deadline now. But I think in terms of creating the committee itself, it might be great to have one of our new council members even chair that committee.
Ooh, new blood. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. And then what exact date are we seating the new council members?
Well, that's in flux, but we're thinking the 14th of January, that the onboarding will be the first week of January, and that at our committee meeting on the 14th, we will do the official seating.
Okay.
And I'll just say that we typically write our operations grant to submit to Novo in January or early February, or we submit it in late January, early February. So we have a little wiggle room because we don't have like a hard deadline, especially because we have a little play with our remaining funds from this year. But just kind of have that in our minds that we should plan to have our budget anyway earlier in the year, and then like in January, and then also our grant proposal probably in February.
Okay.
Do you think, Katie, as like a preparation for this, since the committee will likely have some new people on it, do you think it's possible that you could like set up a budget? You know, I know that we have the budget, but do you think you could do like a template for 2022 where you sort of highlight what numbers, you know, in terms of staff numbers and everything, because you have all that information that's not going to change, and sort of like highlight what's not relevant anymore or what we'll need, and you know, like just like get it ready.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
I mean, I
Katie.
think actually our staff budget could change. Well, it's like it is going to be
Yes.
different from last year because Siobhan is now part-time. We will actually have a GM, hopefully, most likely for part of the year, and we're talking about potentially this other new part-time position. So,
Oh, yeah, you're right. But still, we can get it sort of ready to be fiddled with.
yes,
Yeah.
I will do that. And do we want to
Thank you.
just set Kim? No, of course. Do we want to set like a little deadline for that? We have it on where's our annual council calendar? I'm looking at it now.
At the top of the notes, baby.
Yep.
Nice job.
All right, so I think this actually isn't. Yeah, so really we're a little bit behind. December is supposed to be our January to June budget approval. So probably would be good to have this completed at the end of January.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that brings up that we need to talk about, in terms of changing staffing, something that we've been playing around with that we really should have a real conversation about is, do we want another part-time staffer now that Siobhan is half-time? Do we need another half-timer? And do we want that to be a community organizer? How do we want to play that?
Okay, so the community organizer wouldn't be a full-time gig.
Or would it? I mean, we haven't really talked about this.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good idea to hire a community organizer, and I'm just wondering what exactly will this community organizer be doing besides organizing the community?
I think besides organizing the community, well, I think that would be their job, but I think that, but I think the question also is about like, how would that role interplay with Siobhan's role? Siobhan is currently has the title of community outreach coordinator. So, but we kind of have been playing with the idea of Siobhan doing some more like of the back end administrative community outreach pieces, and then also kind of being a support to me and to the council, focusing on like administrative end things, and then as a community organizer, like really being someone who's like out face to face with people, you know, working together with Siobhan to plan and coordinate events, and you know, making sure that we're, you know, getting face, maybe doing like co-op education with people. So I think, to me, it seems like it could be, if we wanted to do this, that it could be a good part-time position. I don't know if we need it to be fully full-time at this point, but.
And then Katie, do you have any idea of do you have anyone in mind and that's already in the community?
No, I'd love to see who applies and be surprised at the skills that have been hidden away, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And even Siobhan, do you know anyone from, you know, from the community that might strike, you know, like that might pique your curiosity or what have you?
To be honest with you, I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, off the top of my head, no. But I'm sure that person exists. So I will do some thinking, and even yeah, just within my own circle of people that I know who might be a good fit.
Yeah, not to put you on the spot, sorry. I just didn't know if you may have
It's all
known.
good.
And also we have to make sure that this is like, everyone's gonna have to apply. This is like we're gonna have a formal process. It's not a no nepotism.
Kevius, I saw you unmute before and I thought you wanted to weigh in on this.
I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted about the position a bit. Well, one, I know before we dive into it, we should lay out some sort of like targets, which I know we will, and sort of like a roadmap. But I also would love to see, I think, yeah, I'm a bit conflicted as if we need a full position for it, or rather do we need to splice up the community organizing amongst the council itself, as like the folks who are down in the booths in the community, doing these sort of organizing things as a whole unit, especially given that we're getting more council members. So I can see, I'm looking at it from two different sort of like angles of maybe we can do this as a team. It could be a really good opportunity to do this at a grassroots community organizing level versus dedicate a whole position to it. But that to me is after analyzing that capacity. It's sort of like where I am with it.
I like what you
Flag actually is the capacity. I mean, you know, we are getting more people on the board. However, you know, I mean, it might be really good to have someone whose job is dedicated toward, you know, like actually like doing community organizing work. That would actually help us, you know, and kind of like guide our thinking. You know, I think it could be a really symbiotic kind of thing, but also someone on the ground doing that that work when the council doesn't have the actual capacity. So
I think the key thing that Kivius just raised was that we really need to game out what are our goals, like what are we looking to achieve through a program or a job or a council committee or whatever it looks like what would the goals of that person or group or us be in terms of community organizing. And once we lay that out, we can really look at what are the, you know, what is the workload involved in this and who would be the best fit to do this. And if it's not someone in the council, then, you know, but so could I propose that we like set aside an hour to do that work at some point coming up?
about
seems
in the
like
next,
it's-
like,
Maybe the meeting on the 14th, that could go on the agenda for that.
yeah. So are we just not, we don't have anything set until the second week of January?
We have the first week of January is onboarding. I think that we maybe have set up like some little subcommittee meetings that week, but not a whole council meeting. And then our next sort of working council meeting would be the 14th.
Okay, do we want to have a subcommittee that could look at this?
Lindsay, you
before-
want to jump into a special committee?
Is it Kivius and I?
I'm willing to jump into, like, you know, set an hour between now and then to talk about it. Katie, you were gonna say something?
To me, this feels like it fits into strategic planning for 2022, right?
Yeah.
We're setting goals for like who we want to reach and how.
Yeah.
And I think also we have some really smart people coming onto the council, it sounds like, or possibly coming onto the council. And I just feel like this is a great opportunity to bring those folks into the conversation and maybe, like, you know, since we're not going to have a lot going on in the next couple of weeks because of the holidays, maybe it's okay for this to be on hold until we can launch in with new folks.
Yeah, I think that you're right. This is something that goes into that whole goal setting and strategic planning conversation that we're planning already to have on the 14th. So let's just fold it into that.
Yes, okay, good. Okay, so that's so we've discussed our next steps, right? So so Katie is setting up a budget template. So we have a deadline for creating that budget. We in terms of hiring a community organizer, that's going to kind of wait until the new year to actually, like, so that we can get kind of like a process around it. Is there anything that I'm missing?
No, I think that's all the business we have, unless someone has something that's not on the agenda that they want to bring up.
No, I think we can have our open forum. Is there anyone out there, Daniel, Phyllis, or Nina? And we didn't say hi to you when you came in, Phyllis. Hello. Does anyone have anything that that they wanted to comment or have any questions about anything that that we went over tonight, or anything in general about the co-op?
Or
Cool. Let's
wishes
move on.
for, yeah, I was gonna say wishes for 2022.
Peace on earth. Okay, good. Well, I wanted to thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to those who came in and participated with us live, and those who are watching this after the fact at your convenience. This is going to conclude our public and community forum, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, and thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Happy holidays.